Welcome to the Traveling Zen Space. This is a yoga stretch sequence for hip flexibility. We will be using a block and a blanket for this session, but grab any prop that you may need. Feel free to skip or modify or add any variation if a posture doesn't work for you. And remember, your body is the guru. Honor and listen to it. Let's begin seated on our calves at the back of the mat in hero's pose. You're going to grab a blanket, and if you don't have a yoga blanket, you can always use a towel, and you're going to roll it up into a noodle. And we're going to place the blanket right on the calves for a myofascial release of the calves, loosening up that connective tissue that wraps around the muscles. Sink the hips down towards the heels. And if this posture doesn't work for you, you can always sit in easy seated pose. Just lengthen the back and relax the shoulders down. Soften your gaze or close your eyes and just take a moment to ground and arrive into your practice. And if your eyes are closed, you'll just gently blink them open. We're going to release the hero's pose, moving the blanket off to the side. And come forward onto all fours, tabletop, and tuck the toes under for a toe stretch. Making sure to get the pinky toes. You're going to push the hips back towards the heels. And you can stay here with the hands planted on the ground. And you can invite a little bit of movement side to side, warming up the spine, just feeling into the body. Or you can move the hands back towards the knees and sit up on the heels for a deeper stretch. Releasing any tension in the face and softening the hands, the body, making sure not to clench up anywhere else. As you inhale, lean forward, bring the hands down to the ground onto all fours, and you can pat the feet out to release them. And let's move through some cat-cows. Knees or hips distance apart, hands spread wide on the ground, shoulders distance apart. And as you inhale, lengthen the spine, send the heart forward, tilt the tailbone up. And as you exhale, push into the hands and the shins and round through your back, belly button towards your spine. Inhale, shoulders away from the ears, tailbone up. Exhale, stretching through the spine as you round. And move through a few more cat-cows as you link your breath with the movement. Inhale, come back to center, and keeping the hips over the knees, you'll walk the hands forward, melting the heart down into puppy pose, resting the head on a block, blanket, or down onto the ground, and tucking the abs in towards the spine to maintain a flat back. We're going to inhale and lift up. We're going to take a thread the needle here. You're going to keep the left hand planted, and you're going to take your gaze and the right arm out to the right. And then as you exhale, you'll thread the right arm under the left arm, resting down on the right shoulder and on the right side of your skull. And tilt the chin down a little bit here to keep your neck nice and strong and long. And you can take the left arm up overhead, pushing into the ground. And if it's in your practice, you could take a bind with the left arm behind the back. Inhale, engage the abs, bring the hand in front of the face and push into the ground. Send the right arm up just to release, maybe circle the wrist out, and let's move over to the other side. Send the left arm and the gaze over to the left. We'll thread the left arm under the right arm, resting the left shoulder down and coming onto the left side of the head. Keeping the hips centered and drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, draw the right hand in front of the face, push into the ground to release. Send that left arm up towards the sky, rotate out the wrist, and come back to center onto all fours. We're going to do some intuitive movement here and feel into your body. What kind of movement is it calling for today? You can move back and forth, kind of moving like a snake, warming up the muscles that line the spine, bringing the shoulders into it, or just making some circles with the spine. You could take some large hip circles, circling the hips in one direction, just warming up the large joints of the hips. And then we'll switch the direction of the hip circles. Come back to center on all fours. We're going to set up for downward facing dog. Fingers spread wide, hands or shoulders distance apart. Tuck the toes under and send the hips back and up. Send the heart center towards the thighs and keep a nice soft bend in the knees. And you can begin to pedal out through the legs, stretching into the hamstrings. And you can send your hips towards the left and the right, stretching into the side body. You're going to bend the left knee and take the heel up to the sky. And then you're going to make some large hip circles, lubricating that left hip. And then step the left foot forward in between the hands, resting the right knee down and untucking the right toes, coming into a low lunge. On an inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Bend the elbows as you exhale for cactus arms. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus your arms, heart forward. One more time. You're going to inhale and take a bind behind the back, interlacing the fingers. Pull the fist down, relax the shoulders, and send your heart forward, smiling your collarbones forward. You're going to inhale to release, and then exhale, pushing the hips back into half splits. Coming up onto the left heel and using blocks under the hands to bring the ground up higher if needed. Flex the left toes towards the face. Keep a soft bend in the knee. Maintain a flat back and send the heart forward here. Relaxing the left hip down. Inhale to come forward, bend into the left knee to release. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So you're going to heel toe the left foot over towards the right, bringing the shin either parallel to the front of your mat, or you can bring the left heel closer to the groin. And you can use the back right toes to walk the knee back a little bit, stretching out into pigeon. And using your block here for support or a blanket under the left hip. Take an inhale to stretch the spine long. Smile your heart forward. Then exhale to fold forward in pigeon pose. In this deep hip stretch, it's easy to clench up the jaw, your face, or another part of your body. See if you can breathe into relaxation here. We're going to push into the hands, coming upright, setting aside any props used. We're going to release pigeon pose, tuck the back toes, and step the left foot back into downward facing dog for release, pedaling out the legs. I'm going to bend into the right knee and start making those big hip circles. And then you're going to step the right foot forward in between the hands, resting the left knee down onto the ground, and tucking the left toes and coming into our low lunge. And then you'll come upright and sweep the arms up overhead, and then cactus the arms on an exhale. Twice more like this. On your next inhalation, you'll interlace the fingers behind the lower back, pull the fists down, send the heart forward, shoulders away from the ears, sinking the hips down. Inhale to come forward. You might want to move your foot up a little bit. We're going to come into half splits, coming onto the right heel, flex the right toes back. And the two hips might feel different. So this side might feel a little bit more tighter or looser, but wherever it's at, it's okay. You just breathe into the hamstring, maintaining a long spine and an open heart. On an inhale, we'll release, bending into the right knee into low lunge, and walking the right foot over to the left, setting the right knee down, and using the left back toes to stretch your pigeon a little bit longer. And you could place a block or a blanket under the right hip for more support. And then you'll take a moment to inhale and sit up nice and tall, long spine, heart forward. And then when you find your exhale, you'll come down to your forearms, resting here or placing your head on the block. You're going to inhale to release, plant the hands in front of the leg, push into the ground, tuck the left toes under and push back into downward facing dog and take a pedal out, releasing the hip and the legs. Take a nice deep inhalation and exhalation in downward dog, and then place the legs down, coming into child's pose. Big toes together, knees out wide. Push the hips back towards the heels and melt the heart forward, placing the head down on a block or a blanket if needed. On an inhale, we'll push into the hands and lift up. We're going to come into a frog pose. You're going to take the knees out wide as the mat or wider. And you're going to make a 90-degree angle with both knees. Knees and ankle are aligned, flexing the toes towards the knees to protect the knees. And you can stay upright here, pushing the hips back. Or you can come down onto the forearms, And maybe you move back and forth, just feeling into the hips, seeing where you meet resistance and holding and breathing. And be gentle here. This is a deep hip stretch. And if you can move further, you can lay the chest and the forehead down onto the ground, making sure to keep the face muscles soft and release your jaw and soften your shoulders away from your ears here. To release this pose, you'll gently bring the toes towards each other and then walk the knees towards the center of your mat. And then we're going to swing the legs around and we'll meet on our backs. Draw the right knee in towards the chest, stretch the left leg long, grabbing hold of the right shin or behind the right thigh, and just make some ankle rotations in one direction, and then switch the direction of the ankle rotations. And we're going to come into a supine twist here. You're going to shift onto the left hip, send the right knee over towards the left. You can always place a block or a bolster under the right knee, and stretch the right arm long in a T shape over to the right, plugging both shoulders into the ground. Engage your abs to release and come back to center, hugging the left knee in, stretching the right leg long. You can make your ankle rotations and see if you can hug the left knee in a little bit closer on your exhalations. We're going to come into our spinal twist, shifting onto the right hip and dropping the left knee over to the right, stretching the left arm out into a T, and keeping your gaze looking up or taking it over to the left. Engage your abs to release as you inhale, coming back onto your back, and hug both knees in towards the chest. Taking a rock from side to side to massage out the back and the back of the hips. And then you can grab the outer edges of the feet, bringing the soles of the feet together. Push the knees back away from the shoulders. You could hold it there or open up into happy baby pose. You can rock from side to side, playing with your balance, massaging out the back body. Draw the shoulders down and away from the ears and draw the knees down towards your underarms. And you could hold it in happy baby pose here. If you would like to move into a hamstring stretch, you could begin to lengthen out one leg and then switch over and lengthen out the opposite leg. Getting any last movements in before we move into stillness and find our Shavasana. We're going to release here, taking the legs wide, letting the feet flop away from one another, resting the back of the arms on the ground, rolling your shoulders down, back, tucking the scapulas flat onto the ground, allowing the back body to relax, scanning through the body from the toes to the shins to the knees, relaxing the hips, the belly, the heart center, softening the jaw, muscles around the eyes, the space between your eyebrows as you lay in stillness. Begin to make some small movements in the toes and the hands, bringing energy back into the body. Then you'll roll over to one side and just take a pause. Just a moment of gratitude for showing up for your practice. Push into the ground, keeping the body soft, the gaze soft, or your eyes closed, and come to easy seated pose. Just take a moment to check in with how the body feels. Inhale as you sweep the arms out, around, and up, and the palms come to touch overhead and rest at the forehead as a reminder that you are the master of your Zen. Palms come to rest at the lips as a reminder to communicate our truth with authenticity and kindness. Palms rest at the heart center as a reminder to know thyself and love thyself. Thank you for practicing with me. Peace and ease to you. If you enjoyed the session and it helped you, please share it with someone it can help. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be aware of when I post. I would also appreciate the energy exchange. Leave a like and a comment down below. Until next time, peace.